Bloggo's POW!
This is a Bloggo commentary. I recorded this video probably a couple of years ago before I started the channel properly, and this is a one life playthrough of the first loop of Gradius. I put it up on my personal channel at the time, so you can still see it there without commentary, but I just thought I'd talk my way through it. So here goes. So Gradius then, or Nemesis. First came across this game probably in 1985, 1986, actually first down Ramsgate arcades. Looks interesting. I put 20 pence in and I didn't get very far, because when I shot these things, pull-up things, I thought they were mines, so I tried to avoid them. I thought the game was slow and unresponsive, because obviously it hadn't understood the weapon system. Fast forward a couple of years, used to go down Margate quite a bit, and there was a guy there who was really good at this, so I watched him play it and got a hang of how the weapon system worked, and got slowly better and better at it. It's not an easy game, it's not very forgiving. Now Konami have over the years released it for many different systems. Upon playing it down the arcades, I was really looking forward to a home conversion of it. And I've covered that briefly before in my Konami Recollections video, but it was the Commodore 64 version of Nemesis which I bought. It was really good to play it on the home system, and in retrospect it wasn't a particularly good version. I think I also played this Spectrum version at around about the same time. A friend had that and it wasn't particularly good. And another friend had the MSX version, or at least claimed to have the MSX version. I never actually saw it or played it. So I think he borrowed an MSX computer or somebody, said he played Nemesis on it and said it was excellent, but I could only really go from the screenshots in the back of CVG magazine. Of course there were sequels, and that's where things start getting a bit confusing, because Gradius was followed up by Salamander a year later, which wasn't really a sequel to Gradius. It was more of a sort of side story, I suppose. It had a different weapon system. It was 2 players, and it was if you died you spawned on the screen immediately. Again, I've done a video on Salamander before, so worth having a quick check of that. Then followed up a year later, 2 years later, 1988, with Gradius 2, aka Vulcan Venture, which really upped the game in terms of graphics. It really had started using a biomechanical aliens sort of feel, the same way R-Type had done a year before. And you, for the first time, you could select the 4 different arrays of power-ups, so you could get different lasers, different doubles. You also had a selection of 2 different shields to take. Now, Gradius 2 I wasn't that good at. On a good day I might be able to get to stage 4, but I'm not as good at that as I am at this. Obviously a few years passed. 1989 saw the release of Gradius 3. Was it 1990? I don't know, I should check this shit out before I start talking really. But anyway, Gradius 3 came next. Not a particularly good game. A bit disappointing. It did get a pretty decent Super Nintendo home conversion, at least in Japanese and American territories. So of course, as I've mentioned before, I bought that, and I probably bought a Super Nintendo just to play that game. all was quiet until Gradius Gaiden came out in, I think it was 1997. I was living in London temporarily at the time and walked into CEX to see somebody playing a new Gradius game, so whoop, had to buy that. That was fantastic. But in the meantime, years prior to that, I'd been on a shoot 'em up diet of Gradius, being the only way you could really get a Gradius fix during the early 90s. Gradius 4 came out, and I'm not entirely sure exactly when, but I'm sure it was after Gradius Gaiden. So I'm going to say like late 90s-ish. And I remember finding absolutely no information on it when I searched online. The Konami website had a couple of pictures, and bear in mind this is before games were heavily promoted online. I was on a dial-up connection. There wasn't really that much in the way of info on it until when the PlayStation 2 was launched in this country. The Gradius 3 and 4 collection pack was released as well. So there was a way of playing Gradius 4, and Gradius 4 wasn't particularly interesting either. That was a bit disappointing, especially after how good Gradius Gaiden was. Gradius 5 followed up in 2004, 2005, that sort of time, and that was excellent. It changed some of the main mechanics, it fused some bits with Salamander, like the way you can respawn immediately after you die and collect your options if they're still on the screen. It retains the selectable categories of power-ups, very much like every Gradius from Gradius 2 onwards did. But it was partly programmed by Treasure of Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga fame. So that's it was a very, very well produced title. There hasn't been any Gradius games since then. I mean, there's been the Ultimedius series in the arcade and the Xbox 360. So I've had a quick go on it. It's not particularly brilliant, but you know, you're going to play what you can get. There've been no Gradius games since. I mean, in the interim years, there was a couple of more exclusive console ones, like there was a couple of Game Boy games which were specifically made for the Game Boy, and off the back of those there was on the Wii Virtual Console the Gradius Rebirth, which borrows a lot of bits from the Game Boy games. Again, pretty good. And then there was Gradius Galaxies on the Game Boy Advance as well, so that was a game in its own right. It was alright. It's somewhat a little limited thing. It didn't make the most of that screen, I don't think. So that brings us up to date really with Gradius conversions and offshoots and things like that, I think. Now I've reached the end of stage 4 now. I've reached the point where if I was to die now, I would be in a whole lot of hurt. Because this is one of the only points that would have been one of the only points in the game where if I had died, the recovery would have been very hard. Most points in the game where if I do die, I will be able to recover. Now I've switched to double here because the entirety of this level, once you get past this intro bit, is made up of multiple armed blobby things with weak points halfway up the arms. And the lasers seem to pass straight through with no effect, but the double seems to do the job. What's slightly interesting, well, not really, but if you go through stage 1 with a laser, stage 2 really kicks up the difficulty. Well, it does anyway, but even more so if you've got a laser a bit early. So I always don't get a laser until the end of until the beginning of stage 2. So that's an interesting top tip there. This is probably the most boring level in the game. It really is just a session of these pink blobby things with its flappy arms. Now, I actually learnt to complete Gradius from watching that chap down the arcades, and he once challenged me to a game. Now, obviously, this being really a one-player game, you took it in turns. He went first, went to his first loop without dying, which I was absolutely astounded by. Second loop, he died at one point, I don't remember where, and then it was my turn. And much to his absolute amazement, I looped it as well. And it was a complete surprise to me, because up to that point I'd probably only got up to probably this stage. But I think I probably got that far by watching him play a loop, and then I was straight on to play a loop myself, so I pretty much copied exactly what he did. There are a few rather fluky dodges on the last stage. Worth noting, if anybody out there is on Facebook, have a check of Arcade Tales. There's a chap on there called Alan Meads, who has been trying to get stories of what people did down the arcades and how they spent their time down there, and the stories that they've got. He produces a sporadic comic book outlining these tales, and my story of me playing Nemesis is outlined in the first issue. I'm probably sure he probably doesn't have that many copies left, and so it was probably a couple of years ago that he produced it. But worth having a look at also. Right, so this is the first boss, which is not one of the big cool spaceships. And it's not particularly hard. Right, on to the last stage now. What's interesting to see, if you play through the original Gradius and then the later ones, you see where some of the tropes and traditions that the Gradius games have had over the years started, like the earthworm heads, things with tentacles. Remember, this is prior to our type, so. Walkers and things which have become a Gradius staple over the years. Now, a lot of people play a shoot 'em up by sitting at the back of the screen. With Gradius, when you're playing at this sort of point, you've got to be fairly far forward to prevent the screen from filling up with bullets. In most Gradius games after this one, there was a stage where there was a walker or something you could dip between the legs and avoid it. This is, I suppose, the forerunners to that. I'm not entirely sure if Konami intended you to be able to just sit above it and just wait for it to go away. I think the idea was you would dodge those laser beams that come down in the middle and find yourself trapped, but And of course, the final thing is the brain, which is again another Gradius trope, a final boss which is incredibly easy to beat. So there we have it. And that was me playing through Gradius on one loop. Boom.
Here, subscribe or naff off.